I'm a single mom of two wonderful boys. I'm lucky how they turned out. They're both giants for their age, but so kind and sweet. I share custody with my ex-husband, Drew. We've been divorced for 5 years now. Every year it's becoming harder and harder to support us. It's all my fault, and I don't know what else to do. I was with my husband for 14 years, married for 11. We got married relatively young and had kids soon after. I remember the last couple of years feeling trapped in my marriage. Life became very monotonous and boring. I resented missing out on my youth and being unable to join my friends on nights out. Drew and I also grew apart. We neglected us. Or maybe I neglected him, and he stopped trying. Who knows? But it certainly wasn't exciting. All these feelings built up in me until I told him I wanted a divorce one day. I couldn't imagine living another month like this, let alone the rest of our lives. He pleaded for us to work it out, maybe going away somewhere. But once I said it out loud, I felt like I had a purpose. Once he realized there was no going back, he said, let's split amicably. I'm not proud of the way I acted back then. I got a lawyer and went through with it. Ultimately, we split the assets, including proceeds from the sale of the house, evenly, and shared custody of the kids. Just like he offered, I got child support, a whopping $19 a month more than he offered, no alimony, and a pile of attorney's fees. Still, the first few months were great. I had a good support system, and I had plenty of babysitting options, as everyone was trying to be supportive. Friends were taking me places, taking my mind off of things, making up for lost time. But after a while, the help dried up. Everyone became busy with their own problems. Making ends meet with a single income took a lot of work. The apartment I rented was a significant downgrade from our house. I'm tired all the time. Whenever my ex had them, I'd just end up watching TV and just lying around, instead of going out. I've had one semi-serious relationship. It takes a lot of work to meet men who are serious about building something. Drew became very distant. I heard of co-parenting situations where exes get along great. Not Drew. He never responds to my text and only talks about the kids. As they get older, they've enrolled in 3 sports each, with more and more expenses. I can't afford to buy them the stuff they need, even half of it. Finally, last month, I talked to Drew about it, asked him to be more involved in their life, especially financially. Drew refused to contribute a cent more to them than the child support payment and what he pays when he has them. I explained that I can't keep up with all of it. He finally said they're welcome to stay with him full time. He'll cover all their expenses and be wholly responsible for them if I gave him full custody and signed away my rights. He said you can still see them whenever you like. You'll just have no legal rights. I know the boys would love to live with Dad. They're too nice to say it, but it's obvious Dad is the favorite parent. Am I the idiot for even considering going through with it? Am I the idiot if I sign away the rights to my kids? You are the idiot. You've thrown this man away without any thought to making it work. You then threw out handling it amicably and went after him. Then you complain he isn't friendly? So him wanting you to sign away your rights only makes sense to me. He's treating you exactly how you've treated him, as a liability and tool to use when you want. He's just returning the favor. Also, are you afraid to give him full custody because you'll owe him child support? Is that part of this that you didn't want to mention? She still hasn't figured out that throwing other people away isn't the answer to her problems. She discarded her husband because married life wasn't exciting. Now she's a single mother, struggling financially, working to support herself and her children. She's tired and watches TV when the kids are gone. Sounds really exciting to me. Regrets her life choices. She only wants to sign away her rights to save herself money to not pay her ex child support. Yeah, it sounds like OP wants to dump her kids on her ex and pretend she's a teenager. It's the whole, I'll make up for my wild 20 times, then realizing that I'm still an adult who has to pay bills and work. It seems like the grass wasn't greener, and she's missing the comforts of her old life. Honestly, though, I think the kids might be better off with Dad, since Mom seems pretty uninterested in them. When my sister was pregnant with her daughter, she asked me if I would paint the nursery for her. She wanted this detailed job done and her daughter's name, Melody, painted on the wall. I wasn't sure about it because my sister is known to take advantage of me, being her older brother, but I ultimately agreed because I figured I'd just set boundaries. She was impossible to work with, pushed my boundaries, and I was working on it a lot longer than intended because of how much she wanted done and how detailed she was about everything. It took me 2 weeks of doing a few hours daily for her to be okay with it. I told her I was done and said she'd need to find someone else for the next kid if she had one. My niece was born a week ago, and my sister changed her mind about the name because she said it was too similar to my daughter's name. So she decided on the name Birdie for her daughter. Cool. She told me I'd need to fix the name in the nursery, and I told her no. She'll have to find someone else to fix the name in the nursery because I won't be doing that again. She said it would look off if done by someone else, and I told her it was not my problem. She yelled at me and tried to get my wife to change my mind. My wife told her where to go and said she had taken up so much of my time in the nursery anyway that she was rude to demand more. I was angry when my sister went to my wife behind my back. I was so proud of my wife for not letting my sister make those demands. My sister told me I was being an idiot and her daughter didn't deserve for me to be petty over our issues. Am I the idiot? Edit. She paid for the paint and stuff, but I did all the work for free. She didn't even give me anything to eat or drink while I was working. Geez Louise, she wanted to change the name because it sounded similar to your kids? She had 9 months to figure that out. Entitled brat. You are not the idiot for noping out of that situation. You told her you were done, and she decided to change the name anyway. It's a problem of her own creation, and she can figure it out on her own. Dude, I give strangers who are being paid to work on our house food and cold water. What a witch. And you spent what, about 30 to 40 hours on this? Your sister is a piece of work, and someone's stuck raising a kid with that. Yeesh. Melody is a much better name than Birdie, by the way. Measure twice, cut once. I never thought it should apply to naming a kid and getting personalized paintings. Your sister is rude, inconsiderate, entitled. We all know where this would end up if you weren't family. To finish with another saying, you can pick your friends but not your family. In this case, you picked a great friend who's now your wife, and unfortunately, you're stuck with your sister. Take your wife out to dinner. Have fun. She deserves it. My dad is getting married soon. He and his fiancée just bought a house together, and we'll all be moving into the house in a week. My dad has me, a teen female, and my brother, 19. His fiancée has 4 kids, a young teen male, a male tween, a male younger tween, and a female pre-tween. The house is big enough for me and her younger kids to have our own room. Her older 2 like sharing, but her daughter wants to share a room with me. She said she's never had a sister before, and the boys prefer each other to her, so she'd love for us to be sister roommates and for her to get to share a room with her new sister. I heard her say this stuff, and it wasn't totally surprising because she tries to be my shadow when she sees me. My dad's fiancé loved the idea. My dad told her, fiancé, they'd need to ask me first, and when they asked, I said no. I was asked why, and I said I like my privacy and there's space for me to have my own room, and that was the original plan. His fiancé said it would be a great chance for us to bond, and I said I don't care, I don't want to share the room. My dad said it was okay. He and his fiancé argued over it. Then she asked me again and told me her daughter would be really upset if I said no. She asked if I didn't want a sister, and I said no. I had always loved and had a good relationship with my brother and never considered having a sister. That sharing with her daughter would not fulfill some secret wish I've always had. It would frustrate me when I'm supposed to have my own room. My dad's fiancé was angry about my refusal and her daughter, as she predicted, was upset. She tried to talk me around, which didn't work and only upset her more, leading to her mom being angrier with me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. In what world would a teenager and a preteen have anything in common? The age difference is significant. You're both at different stages of development with different needs. Of course you want your own space. And your dad's fiance is not thinking about you at all, only her own child. So don't accept this emotional blackmail. Stand your ground. It's sad that the little girl has her feelings hurt, but that doesn't make it right for you to cave and share a room with her. Soft, you are the idiot. I get that you were being badgered, but a lot of your responses were hurtful and unnecessary. All you had to say was, I want my privacy, and was told I'd have my own room. That said, the real idiot in all of this is your dad for allowing any of this conversation to happen after you initially said no. He's doing a horrible job as your parent and protecting your interest. I disagree with this. The only hurt party is the little stepsister, who's clearly been given unrealistic expectations by her mother. If soon-to-be stepmom had communicated from the start that they wouldn't be sharing a room, there'd have been no hurt feelings. This wasn't OP's problem to fix. Honestly, I think stepmom wants a babysitter. I, 27 female, am a stay-at-home mom to my 2 little boys, ages kindergarten and toddler. I also take care of my sister's 2 children, pre-tween and young grammar school, after school, and during summer break. She sends snacks for all the kids and pays me a small amount of money. I never asked for a lot because it was never a big deal to me, and I enjoyed seeing my niece and nephew. But now things have changed. My sister is engaged, and her future husband lives out of state with his 2 children. My sister told me they hoped I would take care of them. I asked when I'd be meeting the kids, and she said they'd fly in just before the wedding, and I would start right away. I told her I'd like to get to know the kids first, and she said they want to start on the right path with being a blended family, which means treating the kids the same. She said they want them to have that after-school time together. I told her I understood, but I wouldn't be comfortable taking care of the kids for extended periods when I don't know them and will have only met them 1 or 2 times before they would be placed in my care, and I wouldn't be comfortable. My sister asked why I couldn't just embrace a big change and throw myself in. I asked her if she'd give me some time to get to know the kids. She said no. So I told her firmly that she'd need to find someone else to take care of the kids. My sister told me I was really showing that I only consider family members who are related by blood. But I would feel the same if my brother came back home after several years and asked me to watch his kids, who I've never met, and they're blood related. For me, it's just a position that requires a close existing relationship for me to be okay with it. Am I the idiot though? Not the idiot. That's an unreasonable demand. Also, have you tried asking her why exactly she can't let you meet the kids first? Something smells funny about that. Sure, she's getting married, she's busy, and they're out of state, but she might be hiding something too. Does one or both of the future husband's kids have difficult or extra care requirements? I'm getting a big feeling she's trying to push you into agreeing, so it's harder for you to back out once you find out whatever it is she's hiding from you. They're planning to get married, but haven't met each other's children yet, and then want to hand them all over to you for the first days they're getting to know each other, instead of staying with their respective parents in that big blended family that they want to build? That is a recipe for disaster. The kids need to get to know each other first. This is blatantly adults wanting to play big happy family and not giving 2 bits about the feelings of the kids involved. What I'm guessing is, one or both kids have big behavioral problems or big care needs that are demanding. Your sister is a my way or the highway person. She should take a week off and watch all 6 kids, just so she understands what she's asking of you. The only way to re-educate those people is to show them the highway. Reiterate your stance. Don't play her straw man games. You might want to get in front of the inevitable lies she'll tell family by proactively telling family members what really happened. Don't ask them for advice. Tell them what went down. When my mom died back in 2018, she left me and my siblings a decent chunk of money and her house. My siblings wanted to sell the house and split the money. I wanted to keep the house. It's a unique property with a pretty big lot in the middle of the city. The house is 4'3". There's a pretty awesome deck, and most importantly, not in an HOA. I had some sentimental attachment to it, but mostly I thought the house was better for my situation than a pile of cash. I asked them if I could buy them out. They were excited about the idea. The house would stay in the family, and they would still get their cash. We all got it appraised, hired an attorney, and went through with it. My portion of the inheritance and a chunk of my savings were enough to cover their shares. As soon as it was done, my fiance and I moved in. We saved a bunch on rent. The house was paid off, the location was great, and we were delighted with the house. My brother burned through the cash in 2 years. He fancied himself and became an influencer. He bought a Maserati for cash, went to expensive nightclubs, and vacationed in exotic places. Good for him, but the money's gone. My sister and her husband bought a really expensive boat. That's better. They did use it pretty often, and my nephews love it. But from what I understand, her portion of the money's gone too. I got married and we had a son. We would host my siblings on holidays and Christmas before the global issue, and I started to notice it. They were making snide comments about how much the house must be worth now. Since 2018, we had an influx of people to my city. It's growing rapidly, and the price of the house has essentially tripled. We've had a bunch of all-cash offers on the house when we weren't even thinking of selling, but this year we've decided to move. My wife was pregnant again, and we would relocate closer to her family. I talked to my boss, and he said the place we were moving to had an office I could commute to on the days I worked there. So we put the house on the market. It sold pretty quickly, and that's when the trouble started. Both of my siblings think that I owe it to them to split the profit I made because it's only fair. We were in the middle of a move and house hunting in the new place, so I didn't really have time to go on about this. Well, it's been months, and they've not stopped bothering about how I cheated them out of a portion of their inheritance, and I was being really selfish. They pointed out that my buying them out was pretty smooth, and we didn't have any problems or hiccups, and they did me a favor by not kicking up a fuss. Now they want to split the profit because it was their house too. This has become really toxic, and most of my family's on their side. My mom's sister says it would have broken her heart to see her kids fight like this, and I should split the money with my siblings. My dad thinks I should buy them off, so they shut up. Am I the idiot for refusing to split the money? Not the idiot. The fact that they didn't understand that you can either invest or spend an inheritance is not your problem. They chose to spend their inheritance while you chose to invest yours. Now that they've thrown theirs away, it's on them. Do you think your siblings would share if they sell the Maserati or the fancy boat? I don't think so. Yeah, it's not your fault that the house is worth more now than when you bought out your siblings. I'd point out that all three of you invested your inheritance in different ways, and yours is the only one that paid off financially. Say the market had gone in a different direction and the house lost value between the time you bought them out and the time you sold it. Would they have paid you for a portion of the loss? Of course they wouldn't. All they seem to care about is getting the bag from the 3 times increase in price. Also, on a more practical note, did they contribute 2/3 of every tax bill? Home insurance? Repairs? Renovations? When a water heater broke, did they pay 2/3 of the repair cost? Did they spend hours vetting contractors? OP is paid in time, money, and effort to maintain the value of this asset, and somehow these idiots think they're entitled to the profits? These people are crazy.